Hello, 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 and welcome to Bravo. We're white. We have one of your and my favorite guests today during this important Black History Month. Um, last year is hilarious because I told him before February, I had him on in January, and I told him in February he would not be allowed because there were no white people
Yeah.
allowed in February. This year, switching it up, call me Martin Luther King Jr. It's
Wait, can
Ryan.
I offend you right off the bat? Hey, am I invited to the cookout?
No, please. I will save you a plate. I'm gonna save you a plate. It's full. I'll make sure it's warm and you'll get an extra helping of mac and cheese, but right now it's full until we can figure some things out. Ask me again in 2028. Okay? All right. Well, we have Ryan here who is obviously the host of So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. He is always on Jeff Lewis Live. He was recently on the reality hot seat for the Super Bowl because he knows everything about sports. So that made total sense why they asked him on there. He is a host, a podcaster, a meme maker, a social media extraordinaire, and he's about to go to his a different era. It's the daddy era. And
Yeah,
I
my
don't
final resting
mean
place.
you horny women who love Ryan Baby. I don't mean that kind of daddy. I mean literal daddy. And I decided, I'm like, listen, I don't know when I'm going to be able to talk to Ryan because he is going to be a father and he's going to be going on paternity leave. And I think that people change for the better, in my experience, so much especially when they have their first kid. So I'm like, I need to
Wait,
talk to
how bad
Ryan.
am I, Kaya, that I'm so bad that I need
No,
to
not
be
bad. I'm just saying that there's nothing like having your first kid. Um, and I think that it's gonna affect you in such a positive way that you didn't even know. Like you're already an emotional person. People already think that you're gay. Like these are like positive. These are, and mind you, these are positive things.
Yeah,
Like
no, yeah.
you are in tune with your feminine side
By the way,
already.
I would like I actually take it as a great compliment when
Yeah,
people think I'm gay. And
you
then
should.
they actually take a look at me and how I dress, and then they're like, "Oh, you're not gay." But I'm on like that's never. I'm like, "Yeah, man." When anybody thinks that
Yeah,
I'm gay, and they're like, "Oh, I thought you were gay," I always feel that's great. And then I'm like, "Sorry, I disappointed people," because I'm
yeah.
like, that would be so amazing if that because my best friends are gay. Like I've learned all of my taste from gay men and women.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a positive thing when people think that you're gay because people just automatically feel safer. They trust you a little bit more. I mean, because you know how it is. Like straight white men, they are not the ones to trust, especially at a time like this. And if you can literally make someone feel safer, it's like, no, I'm not gay, but I get it. Like I understand why you would
Yeah.
feel safer around me and also why you think my tastes are better. And also we can talk about like things that we could you wouldn't be comfortable around. Talking with a straight man. Like no straight man's gonna sit there while we talk about heated rivalry, which
Oh god,
he has a
I loved Heated Rivalry so much. I thought that was such a really and by the way, you must have loved it because you always loved the horned up shows. You love
hell
horny
yeah.
shows. But
Well,
on
yeah.
top of it, I thought it was just really that 3rd episode was what really sold me between Kip and
The Kip,
the hockey guy. I
yeah.
thought that was just emotionally just I thought that was just great. And then I was like fully locked in from that episode on because the first 2, I was like, this is just straight up smut and it's great. Like
Well,
Rebecca loved it. But the
hell yeah.
3rd episode is what really got me. I was like, "Oh, the story really is great."
Storyline. It's
Yeah.
important that it's not just like how like in my community we really don't want to focus on and give awards for when someone plays a slave or when someone plays like the stereotypical, black person or woman or side character. Like we need different shows where it is starring people that look like us that aren't just going through torture. And a lot of the
Yeah.
time, obviously in Heated Rivalry, they were on the DL, but we got to see it was like the glances across the room, the
Yeah.
sly little, the things that are romantic in any relationship. We got to see it, and then also later on, we also got parents who were just accepting of it, and it's just good for this community to feel represented. So, Heated Revelry was honestly one of the top shows of last year. For me personally, I like the smut of it all, but I respect those who like the storytelling too. And Rachel
No, I
Reed
I figured
went on a
you would like
following
the
spree.
Yeah, because I was like, "Oh my god," it's like he's straight up putting it in that guy's butt, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Good for them," but then the story kept me coming back, and I have to imagine, like, there's gotta be such a rise in sales of cottages. Like, the
Yeah.
cottage market must be off the hook after that episode, and to your point, I do wonder in the 2nd season, do you think they will ever, incorporate well, first off, how many black hockey players are there, and will there be a black storyline about a sports player on the DL? Do you think that will, because that is such that I've heard that topic
It's
of
a
conversation
white dominated
about,
space. Yeah.
yeah, like, I mean, I'm curious what they're going to do with other characters from here on out in the upcoming seasons.
I think that we gotta also, realize that this is a show that's coming from Canada. So if one Canada, that is not a place that has it has a black population, but it doesn't have a lot of black people in there. But also we're in an industry which is the sports industry where it's one of the few sports where there's not a lot of black people in general.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's true.
I did understand why there weren't like any main characters that were a part of this, but I could see Rachel and also the guy that, is writing the actual shows for TV incorporating these things because
Yeah,
we didn't know how this was going to go. It could have been a hit or it could have been, like a miss. Some people would watch this and be like, "Oh, it's nothing but smut. Who cares about this?" And then there's other we thank God we got the reaction because women, honestly, obviously, gay men got the representation and it was important, but also white women really loved this show, so it
yeah,
made it super successful. So the more successful, like, it gets, I think the more that they can incorporate different kinds of people, and make it diversify it. Even though, in the hockey industry, it's not really a lot of black people there, but why are we, trying to reflect the hockey industry instead of trying to reflect the world? You're doing so much
yeah,
and you have so much leeway and you have the opportunity. Like there was Asian representation on there, so you can honestly, get into it and make one of the main players a black person, and it would be great. I mean, side characters, main characters, in between. I'm just excited for what they do for season 2. A lot of people have already read the books. A lot of people know what comes next. I do not know what comes next. I am not going to listen to the audiobook even though I want to so bad. I want to be in for such a good surprise. But you guys, I have been doing t-shirt of the week. Speaking of Heated Rivalry, I told Ryan, I made him do a lot of things last minute. I asked
yeah. By
him,
the way,
"Hey,
if you want to come on this show, anybody out there like, oh, I hope Kaya invites me on the show. Remember, you're gonna have to do a lot of homework. Like, she had me watch a 2-hour movie, and then the night before, she's like, "Hey, can you watch the first episode of this? Hey, also, can you watch the first episode of this? And hey, have you been watching this?" All of a sudden, it hits you with a lot of homework. Like, I'm in the middle of trying to like learn how to be a dad before the baby comes on top of my show. She hits you. It's like finals week when you come on this show.
I understand, and I accept that feedback while I was trying to tell people about my graphic tee of the week that you
Oh,
so
sorry,
rudely
sorry.
interrupted. Um, I would like to rebuttal on that. I'm sorry that I was trying to get you to watch shows that are African American led during Black History Month. That's all
Oh,
I
you
was
think?
trying to do. That's what I'm sorry, Ryan.
Well,
Um,
you know what would be great? Because you asked me weeks and weeks ago to come on, and you gave me a homework assignment that had nothing to do with black. And then the night before, so I feel like that's on you, where
I
you
asked
are
you a
thinking
question. I just
that's a failure
asked.
on your part. Where you, like the night before, wouldn't you set somebody up for success and say, I need you to watch not just the 2 hour movie I sent to you, but I want you to watch all these shows by this date instead of the
Because I
night
didn't
before?
expect you to actually, like, watch the movie. I thought that you would know this movie because this is the movie from your era. It
Yeah,
came
but
out
Kai,
in
I'm gonna go back and
1997,
watch.
like,
I don't
when
wanna
you
give
were.
you a half-ass. I'm gonna go back and rewatch it and try to be prepared.
Well, you shit on the movie, first of all. And then all I was doing is like, "Hey, can you watch The Burbs?" which stars Keke Palmer. She's executive produces it. Seth MacFarlane also executive produces it, and he is also hilarious. So I'm like, "Okay, this is a Black woman-led show, so let me see if he has time." I wasn't offended. I'm just gonna say, "Hey, are you able to watch that?" And then you had told me that you watched Batman and Robin, which is a 2 hour and like 7 minute movie. So I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
2 hour
he's
and
already
7 minute
watched
movie,
that.
yeah.
And I was wondering if you already had watched that. So now I'm like, okay, let me see if you can watch The Fall and Rise of Reggie Dinkins, which is a
And I did
Black
watch that.
man
I did watch
led
that.
show with Tracy Morgan. And he is hilarious. Daniel Radcliffe is on it. We'll get into that in a bit. I'm sorry, that I had you rewatch Batman and Robin and that you didn't have time to watch the Black show that I tried to get you to watch.
What's so
Is that
it's
what
so
you want?
funny.
Is
Yeah,
that what you're
no,
fishing
it's
for?
that's yeah, I mean, yeah, that is what I'm fishing for, Kaya, but what
Okay.
I will say is that it's just so funny because I had set time aside to rewatch Batman and Robin, and it's
Mhm.
a just so the audience knows, I'm a huge Batman fan, but that movie is
I
a
can't
very,
tell.
very well, because that movie's very painful for me. As an OG Batman fan, it's such a painful experience for like real Batman heads. And I know a lot of you guys out there are like, oh, it's fun, Poison Ivy. Like, I'm sorry. Batman shouldn't have ice skates attached to his boots. Like that's just it's so ridiculous. And like within the first 5 minutes, I was just like I remember going to see that in the movie theaters and being so disappointed in this. And I know like I know saying, but by the way, Kaya loves probably love this movie, and a lot of people have good memories of this movie. But like, I'm sorry, Batman, Bruce Wayne's parents died. He's a vigilante. He should not be like it should this was like a fun kids movie, and it's like the Batman in the 60s television show, but it was very so I had just finished watching Batman and Robin and just really hated that experience all over again. And then I get the text from you of like, "Hey, can you watch 8 episodes of The Burbs?" And I was like, "I
No, I didn't
just
ask
finished
you that.
watching
I
Batman
said,
and
"Can
Robin."
you?" I will show the messages also. I said, "Hey, can you watch episode 1 of The Burbs?" And I didn't know that you had watched the show. I appreciate you for rewatching Batman and Robin and also watching The Fall and Rise of Reggie Dinkins. Both Black-led shows, by the way. I also want your audience
It's
to know
nothing to
that
do with blacklit shows. I will watch The
I
Burbs
know.
eventually. But and I really actually dug Reggie Dinkins. I thought that was great. I'm glad I actually
He
watched
has
that.
his hand
I'm
if you
talking
guys are
there's
not
only so many hours.
watching the
Do you know how much
video, he has his hands up.
Bravo programming, like I'm just like I'm TV'd out, you guys. And then this week,
Yeah.
Love is Blind is releasing like a new season of Love is Blind, so we have to go on that roller coaster again.
Yeah,
We have
we do.
we need
It's
less. We need
Valentine's
less
week. You're
TV.
literally about to have a baby. Like you have Ryan has real shit going on. Meanwhile, I'm like, "Hey,
By the
can
way,
you
I
watch?"
hope the audience knows I'm half joking. I'm not actually. I mean, I always joke on my show is that this was the dream as a kid. If I was told one day that I could make money watching TV, I would have thought, oh my God, you made it. Like you're living the dream. And now I'm living that dream, but sometimes it's a nightmare because you finish a show and then you realize you have 4 hours of TV to watch just to prepare yourself for the next day. And I know that's like, and I used to watch like Housewives. I would just watch it like as a regular viewer where I would like drink white wine and eat
Passively,
cheese
yeah.
like in bed. Past like I wasn't taking detailed notes on it. And
Right.
now I'm like I get stressed out about a Karen Huger interview now. I'm just like, "Oh, what's she say?" Like it's I don't know. It's
We
wild.
are
So then
we
I saw
we
Batman and Robin.
yeah. Yes. Okay. So I also want your audience to know because I'm gonna ask you to collab probably on Instagram or maybe even YouTube. This is also a joke. Me and Ryan are friends. I'm not bullying him, and I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
bullying
This
him
is
for
all.
being white. Please, women, we're friends. I don't want no smoke. Okay. Um, First of all, please, can you present to the class your graphic tee of the week? Which I've been
Yeah.
trying to get to for 30 minutes now. Hated rivalry, Charlie Brown. Now that is one that I have not seen yet. I've seen so many edits. I've seen so many knockoffs. I've seen a Shane shirt. I've seen an Ilya shirt. I've seen an Ilya and Shane shirt. I've seen a Kip and the shirt. Like I've seen so many different ones, but I have not seen a Charlie Brown heated rivalry shirt. And I love that.
Yeah.
Today, I know that we're talking about Batman, but I have on a Superman shirt, and it is the one with the new logo from James Gunn. A lot of people did not like the new logo. I don't really know the difference. But shout out to Superman. I love the new Superman. That's my Superman, my era Superman, and David Cornsweat. If you're looking, I'm available. So that is for graphic tee of the week, which I completely made up in the middle of January because I did not have any resolutions. I was like, I can't change anything about myself. I'm just too stressed out. So I'm like, if I could just do, and I love graphic tees, like if I could just have a graphic tee every single week for 52 weeks, that would be dope. And I want to collect them all. And when I have someone on, if they can have a graphic tee on, I would love to just have that. And then at the end of the year, it's graphic tee of the year and it's 52 different graphic tees that I have and that I wore on the show. And I feel like that's
Wait, so
the bare
you're
minimum.
buying a new one every week, or these ones you already own?
Well, there'll be some special ones. Like I have a Beyonce one that I have not worn publicly on the show, but it's mainly new ones. Like I had the first one was a Remy from Ratatouille. That was a dope one. The second week I forgot what it was. But last week it was a shirt that said Puerto Rico, and it's because I'm also Puerto Rican now. I'm Puerto Rican after the Bad Bunny concert on Sunday. So it's just a fun little thing that I want to do that's not too harsh and that I feel like I can easily keep up with, especially because the graphic tees are just everywhere. If you go to Five Below, you can get a dope ass wicked graphic t-shirt for $5 at Five Below. Or you can go to Hot Topic, the home of the graphic tees, get one. I mean,
Yeah, I
I
love Hot
just
Topic.
love
Also, I love Target men's section. They're not as good recently, but I mean,
right.
I was always kind of, I said this on
It
one of my
used to
shows
be
recently, was that
banger at Target.
but I wish Bravo would license their intellectual property to Target and stuff. But I guess I might be yeah, I think they would actually sell a lot of Real Housewives shirts at Target if they license that to t-shirt companies and things like that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm mistaken, but I have
No.
so many t-shirts. I have an insane amount of t-shirts. And as you get older, you realize, because I don't even really wear, I would say, I just wear the one that's on top, but I have hundreds and hundreds of shirts that I've collected through the years. And it's all pop culture or stupid, funny sayings that as you get
Yes,
older
I
aren't
love
nearly as
those.
funny anymore. But and speaking of Batman, I still have so many Batman shirts. I never did get one from Batman and Robin because that was blasphemy. But I did have a Batman Forever shirt. I had a Batman Returns. I had a Batman. I'm a real big Batman collector, which is crazy. And that's, I have a bunch of action figures still in the
You got
boxes,
the
the whole
Batmobile
thing.
too, right?
I've got the Batmobile. In fact, I think back here I got the Bat motorcycle. Um, Rebecca doesn't let me put out. I have a lot of it in storage, so I don't know if I'll just eventually have to sell it to put
You
my
just
daughter through
swapped them.
college or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's important too.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that was the graphics tee of the week. I'm just so glad we got that over with because I feel like I was always gonna forget that part. But let's get into what I really got you
Well, you
here.
said wait, but Kai, sorry to interrupt. You said Puerto Rico. Um,
Yes.
were you like me, where you didn't see a white person out there on that field during the halftime?
No, because I saw Lady Gaga.
I'm joking. I'm not being Jill Zarin right now. I love that you
I
actually
know.
took that
I know.
seriously.
No,
That really scared me, Kai.
no, I'm oh my God, I'm such a troll that people don't know when I'm joking or like being dead ass. No, like she was Lady Guadalupe. Like I did not see a white person out
Well,
there, and that is
you had
alarming.
the king of the white, you had the queen of the white people, Alex Earl, out there.
Yeah, no, well, there were just multiple, and then there's also white Puerto Ricans. Like it's also I also want to say people are like, oh, Bethany Frankel would not act like this, and I'm just like, no, all these bitches literally do act like this because Bethany Frankel just dirty deleted a fucking
Yeah, I
TikTok
know.
about all
She was like,
that.
"I'm gonna get canceled for this, but are you like
Hmm.
me? Like, when is it too far with like
When's the
political
line?
messaging? Like, should they have me at the Grammy Award?" I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like this, whether people like it or not or understand, like these are artists out there. These are art, and you can either
She's just like,
appreciate their
shut up and drivel.
storytelling. Well, but Bethany's also just wants attention. It's all an attention economy. And then sometimes the heat is too much, or sometimes she was like, oh, I mean, it's like it's hard to take any of those people seriously because they want to get you into rage. They want to rage bait you, and then sometimes it's too much for them. But then they'll rage bait, they'll get the feedback, and then they'll be like, oh, woe is me. Oh, it's so tough out there for me. And it's
Now it
it's all
becomes
just a big
about them
mirror.
and bullying and all this shit, and it's just like, no, like you knew what you were doing when you put it out there, but
Yes.
yeah,
So enjoy your attention. Enjoy the attention that you
exactly.
get. Jill, enjoy the attention you were getting. I mean, I saw that on Sunday night and I knew like it's one of those things, and you know this from following pop culture so much, is that, it's like
Yeah.
you're like, well, it's gonna be an interesting day for Jill tomorrow. Like, I mean,
Yep.
like I knew immediately how this was gonna go down. And that I said this is exactly everybody was like bitching at me, like, oh, Bravo, like dropped the ball on bringing the OG Roni ladies back.
No.
No, they knew exactly what was going to happen. They knew exactly. I'm just shocked that it was this quick. I thought it was going to be a couple weeks down the line
And I
before
thought it was
somebody
gonna
said
be
something completely
Ramona,
stupid. Oh yeah, I mean that's well, Ramona probably like was about to hit send on her thing
and
about the
she
Super
saw that
Bowl,
shit
and
and was like,
then
"Hold on."
Jill was like, "Alert, alert!" Jill, like, and that's the funny thing too is that there was such a positivity about these ladies coming back that my theory is Jill probably like finally started getting like, "Oh my god, I'm getting so much more attention this last week and a half. Everybody must really give a shit what I have to say." And so
Right.
I think she was then filled with that kind of like, "Well, I'm just going to say what I want to say because everybody wants to hear it," and then realize really quickly you got to know who your audience is. You got to know who consumes these things. And, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Like they haven't even shot a single frame of this show. And I can just imagine, like, wow, like you really put, but if you feel this way, that's how you feel. Like you can't
Right,
police how
just
somebody
stand on it.
feels. You do have the freedom of speech. You do have all of those things that I fight for, but at the same time, there's going to be a reaction. Like when I say stupid shit on my show every day, I get a reaction every day, and I have to deal with that. And I mean that's kind of the avenue that you've chosen to work in.
Freedom of speech does not mean freedom of consequences or freedom of like, getting a response back. That is why you put it on social media because media is social. So I'm wondering how she's feeling. Like, not only did her daughter have to turn off, like, she's doing PR control for herself. She had to
I
turn off her
know.
comments. She had to say that
I
she
bet Jill
didn't
feel. I
agree.
mean, I
And
bet.
I'm just
I bet
like,
Jill feels horrible. I bet. I mean, but I don't know if she feels horrible.
for
I
the
mean, I
right
bet she feels
reason.
horrible. I mean, I do want to think that there's a learning experience for people, no matter how old. But I do also know that is sometimes wishful thinking. Is sometimes things are so deep within, and it's like they live a completely different lifestyle than a majority of Americans, and they see things a very certain like a certain way. But also, we can't fool ourselves into thinking there are so many people out there in the Bravo landscape that think exactly how Jill thinks. That's just the reality.
Right.
And I say all the time, but I don't and I know I don't watch these shows so I can take, tips on how to vote from Ramona Singer. Like I never have watched these shows going, "Oh, I hope Ramona teaches me how to act today." Like to me it's a cautionary tale and I can watch it with like a sense of humor, but I do realize it can sometimes be dangerous cuz people will just buy it hook line and sinker. They'll buy whatever they see and not look into it any deeper.
Yeah, I think that I take it with a grain of salt, right? Like, I feel like when we have people who are openly spitting vitriol, like Jill Zarin, like Ramona Singer, even Taylor Armstrong just thought that she was doing something with that
Oh, that
fucking
was
cat
wild.
meme. It was just very weird. It's like, okay, that is a
Even
diff
that
like,
cat from the cat from the meme is like, "Please stop
I'm not
using
even a
me, Taylor,
yeah,
please."
like, this was years ago, babe, hang it up. Um, I feel like there is a because we obviously have MAGA housewives, but they're not going out there saying, "Hey, did you notice that there were no white people around?" Like, they're just living their lives,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
obviously. Like, there's a difference between that. Like, as if you're not, like, in my face with it, I'm kinda like, "Okay, do you?" But if you are literally out there putting out these things, I'm not going to platform you, and I'm not gonna contribute to your views. I'm not gonna even contribute to what you're talking about or be outraged by it, because at the end of the day, people also post stuff to get engagement from it. And when we react in the way that we do, it's kind of like what Brittany said to Meredith. See, these are the seizures I'm talking about. It's like it gives her the reason to say, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I can't even say there weren't even white people there. So it's just like, I'm going to decide what I consume, what I react to, and like Andy said, they're no longer employed by Bravo, so take that shit somewhere else.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, I always just think the fragility of people, and I was like, wasn't that what everybody was saying the left was just so fragile and like, oh,
yes.
snowflake and stuff. And then all I hear now from the right side is just complaining about everything. Like you can't even deal with a 15-minute halftime show. Like, do you know how many halftime shows I've watched in my life that I've not like absolutely loved? And guess what? Like I don't it's like I usually don't say shit about it, but like I didn't love the Coldplay halftime show until Beyonce came out. I didn't love like there are certain halftime shows that I have not loved, but I just you know what? It's a halftime show. I'm watching it for
Yeah,
free. In
like,
fact, I'm
it's
not even watching it
also
for free. I watch the shitty commercials and like so,
right.
but like turn it. You know how easy it is to
But
turn shit off in this country. Like,
what kills me though? This is the first year. I don't know because I'm not really around the sports area or a historian for that kind of stuff or a Super Bowl historian. But this is the first year of my knowledge that they had an all white halftime show. There was Kid Rock, there was Branton,
oh,
I don't
Turning
even know
Points
yeah,
halftime
the
show.
turning
Yeah.
point. So if you were watching that and you were like, "Hey, I don't feel represented," we had a whole 'nother one to represent white people. And guess what? I didn't turn the turning point one on and go, "I don't see any black people on this one." So it's just like you can choose what you can
Well,
consume
I did.
or
I
you can
did
shut the fuck
watch.
up.
I went
Right,
and watched the
please.
Turning Point one yesterday just
All
to,
right,
like,
please.
see what it was all about. No, I did because I was like, "Well, let me see what this craziness is about," and it was like
How was
once
it?
again, it
Let
was
me
like
know.
fragility, like, oh, come on, it was, like, ridiculous, and, like, I mean, it looked like a WWE event, but it looked cheap at the same time, like, it was just so many sparklers and all this shit, and then I found out it wasn't even live, it was pre-recorded a couple weeks ago in Atlanta, and then there's this one guy, this Lee Brice or something, and he does this song about, like, it's hard to be country in this country anymore and just wanting to be in my pickup truck and my go fishing. And I don't want to tell my girl he's going to be a guy someday and bitch and moan and bitch and moan. And I'm like, and then the one guy, this Brantley Gilbert, he's talking about like real Americans and he's wearing a fucking Louis Vuitton shirt. I'm like, Louis Vuitton, I don't believe is made. And I'm like, walk the walk, man. Like we're all so full of like, we're all such hypocrites. And that's all of us. That's not like that's the left, the right. It's all just such hypocritical shit. And then we're just kind of force fed this stuff. And like I watched it just because I wanted to like, well, let's see what they have to
And
offer.
they couldn't
Like,
even
man,
stream it on X, which is
oh
you're
yeah. I
you're
mean,
supposed to be able to
they didn't have
stream
their ducks all in a row. But
everything.
also, why don't you fucking get Nicki Minaj? Nicki Minaj is like all up in your shit lately. Get Nicki Minaj in there. Like, get a real like. Because I'm sorry, like Kid Rock, God bless him. The grift is like he's managed to make a career that for most musical artists would have been over in a couple of years. He managed to now last for decades by like doing
Hey.
pivots. But do I really think Kid Rock lives by the tenets of the Bible? Hell no. And that's the thing. It's just like that kind of hypocritical nature is what really frustrates me, as Lisa Barlow would say. It's so frustrating that you're like, Kid Rock, you're gonna tell me how to live my life. Like that is wild. Even I even think Kid Rock has to laugh at himself at times, but like he's living
Laughing to the
great, man.
bank.
He's doing great.
He's laughing to the bank. But okay, let's
Yes,
get into
exactly.
it.
They're all everybody's laughing to the bank.
Except me. Like I don't know where these liberals are getting paid at, but like, can I sign up for that? Like, what's going on? It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, but
W-
I'll be a crisis actor. I mean, I couldn't make it as a
Yeah.
real actor. I'm happy to be a crisis
Hey.
actor. I'm happy to be, I don't know. It's a weird time, and I always say, even with reality television, it's diluting the power of reality television because real life has gotten way crazier than reality shows can ever be. You know?
Yeah, it's like nothing that you put on TV can shock us more. Um, but
Yeah,
let's get
you're
into
like,
it.
well, I'll just read a little bit about the Epstein files. Sorry, Kai, I really hijacked
No,
your show.
I love
Sorry, you
when you
guys. I
come
know you
on
didn't
because
come
we
to listen to this
literally
shit. Yeah.
catch up. No, we come every time you come, we talk about like everything except what I said that we were going to talk about, which is hilarious because we haven't talked in so long that I have so much to say, and then you have so much to say, and then it's also almost like immediately after something ridiculous happens. So it's like you
Yeah.
gotta like
Well, I
talk about
bet while we're talking right now, something ridiculous will happen.
it. Okay, let's get into something that I really want to know about, like your opinion about Nancy Guthrie.
Okay.
What's
Oh
going
my
on with that?
god. I don't know why I laughed. Did you just see the photos that they just released?
The guy at the door, right? Taking
The
down the
guy in the
security
ski
cameras?
mask.
Yeah, do you think he's
Yeah,
black?
I mean, how scary no. How scary can you get though? Like, I mean, that's just there's nothing. I was supposed to talk to Andrea Canning from Dateline last week. I
Ooh,
don't know if you ever watched Dateline Murder Mysteries, and they had to cancel because they didn't want any NBC people to because they didn't want
yeah.
anybody to ask about that because it seems like she is such an esteemed member of their community. And I mean, I
My
think that's
heart
just a
goes out to
nightmare.
Savannah
Imagine
because
that.
I love her. Like, well, I
I
don't
mean,
love her, but I'm just saying, like, it's
and
Savannah. Like, you turn on the TV in the morning, she's greeting you with a
everybody
smile.
loves
She's
her.
doing, like, she is just,
And
she's,
she's one of
it,
those
it
people
couldn't
that
happen if she
believes
was like
in
a better
God. Like
person.
she wrote a whole book about Christianity, I believe, and all that stuff. And I listened to her speak about it a couple years ago, and I was like, it's like here's somebody that I actually believe. Like I'm just like, wow, you don't come off as a grifter at all. You come off like a real. And those are the people that really kind of move me. And for something like this to happen, knowing how strong her faith is and her strong her mom's faith is, and as I mean, it just breaks your heart because there's nothing they can do and it's like $6 million in Bitcoin. And how do you know if you can trust that? How do they even know that this woman is still alive? Like, did they take her medicine with them? I mean, she has a pacemaker. There are so many things, and I don't know. I just don't. I mean, she had to cancel, her coverage of the Olympics. Your heart just goes out to everybody involved. And at the same time, you just don't want this to end up a cold case like Jean Benet Ramsey or something.
And I feel like we're in the year 2026 where I am shocked if I'm shocked that we're on what, like day 10 and we still don't know
Yeah.
what's going on. Like, in your opinion, like, why do you think they allowed the first date to go by and they didn't pay the ransom? Because you know a lot more about true crime, or not know a
I think
lot
I
about
think
more,
because
but like,
I think because they didn't get like an exact proof of life, they didn't
mhm,
get like a detailed proof of life. I mean, I think what they did get was factual information in terms of like, okay, you definitely know details about this case that other people don't. But I believe they probably asked for some sort of proof of life or to talk to her or something, and
mhm,
no communication was put forth. So I think, in those situations, you don't want to automatically give somebody $6 million in Bitcoin and
mhm.
then you never hear from your mom or actually, receive her body if she has passed away. That's the other thing. A lot of people thought there was hidden messages in one of their videos over the weekend
Yeah,
where they said, we
the
will
Saturday
pay.
one.
We want our mother to celebrate her. And usually celebrate her, you would think that could be a funeral or a celebration of life. And so even the way, I didn't think it at first, but then I
I didn't.
was watching it. And I was like, yeah, you could think of this of like, this is something of like, I know she has passed, but we desperately want her remains to be able to celebrate with
How do
her.
you see this ending? Like, do you see this coming to a close anytime soon? Do you think someone's gonna slip up? Do you think that this is an inside job? And like, where do you see this going? Because I really don't
Well,
know, because I don't follow true crime like this,
yeah.
and this is the first
Well,
time
what a
that I've
random
been
person
like,
to invested.
yeah, invested in.
Yeah, what a random person to pick. What a random, like, I mean, that's why, I would never. Savannah Guthrie, like, what an interesting, like, to choose her mom. It makes you think there has to be some sort of inside job. And I don't mean the direct family, but somebody that knew enough because I've been aware of Savannah Guthrie for, decades now, it feels like. And I have never really given a second thought to her family, and so it's very specific. It seems like they had a very specific plan. They had to have known about the pacemaker. They had to have known about her medical issues. I mean, she's an 84-year-old woman, but she is still with it. They had to have been aware of these certain things, which makes me think that they definitely have some sort of insider information. What scares me, since both of the deadlines have passed, is that this will be a cold case. Is that we will not have an ending for this. Is that I think they are not going to give the 6 million in Bitcoin because they just can't trust it. And we will never know the end of this. Now, the other thing is usually criminals that they do like to talk, so somebody might slip up, but I think it's 50-50. But I don't expect to, like, have answers, because if it's been this long and we haven't had answers, and then today they release the footage of the mask, I think that means that they're even more desperate than we thought.
Yeah, and I was just wondering why they would never tell us, was there signs of forced entry or not? And then now we have this video, so it's like, oh, okay. Like it's such a
Well, her blood was
sad
found at the
case, but
scene
it's
too.
also,
Her blood.
yeah.
How did they
And
get I
I'm
mean, like, my thing too is, like, if they're dripping her blood, did they do that on purpose, or was there an
right.
injury and that blood? Because, like, was the blood spilled on purpose? Like, did they do that to
Yeah.
show we have her, or was that just she was bleeding and she was bleeding while they took her out?
Yeah, I think it's just wild. I'm definitely praying for the whole family. Um, a lot of people, and in a lot of these cases, it's always the husband, but I don't want to really speculate on that just yet. I just do think that it's weird that, he was kind
Wait,
of
are
the
you
last
talking
one
that
who
Savannah
saw
Guthrie's
her.
husband had
No, 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 no. The sister's husband who dropped
the sister's
Nancy
husband? Yeah.
off. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, he's the last one who saw her, and they were, at their house. They're collecting all this evidence. There's different crime units there. They come back days later. Like, what is going on at that house? And then you have like former FBI people putting their 2 cents in, and it's just so interesting, in a bad way, to think about, because it just seems like now it feels like it's a mess. Like there's so many people that have been to the crime scene now. There's so much information out there, and there's been people, of course, trying to call in and capitalize on it, which is disgusting. TMZ got
Oh, yeah, I
involved,
mean,
local
think
stations
about the
got
creator
involved. Like,
economy. I
yeah,
mean, or even just the smaller creators. Now it's like, oh, it's like, because those things, like, are easily clickable and clickbait and stuff like that. And I don't know if it necessarily helps if I sit there and read a TMZ article to you on a video. Like, I always find that I'm like, here's all the information I had no part in tracking down. I'm just
right.
going to read you a TMZ article and hopefully I get a lot of views on that. But aside from that, conventional wisdom will tell you that it is one of the family. And that's why, I mean, if she is not returned, I do pray that it is not the family involved in any way, because I think that would even make it that much more tragic, where you're like, okay, this is already a scarring event. If it turns out to be one of those family members, then, you've annihilated the whole family.
Yeah, it's definitely, ooh, I just saw, Nick Vile privately apologized to Austin Crowe for insensitive interview. Sally Carson tells Page Six Radio. Why is Sally the one who's okay, you guys, if you didn't know,
Sally.
I hope that Nancy Guthrie is found alive and safe, and it if you guys are listening, hopefully you're not, give that lady her amlodipine, give that lady her medicine, give her some snacks and some food,
I
and at
take Al
least
I take Almodipine.
I think we all do,
Yeah.
make sure that she comes back safe and sound because you have already traumatized this woman enough. Like, stop. But okay, so this is some breaking news. Sally Carson revealed that Nick Vile and his wife, Natalie Joy, privately apologized to Austin Kroll after their insensitive interview. They both called him and apologized, the Southern Charm star exclusively revealed on Page Six Radio. I do think there should be a public apology for sure, she noted. I think it needed to be a lot bigger, Carson continued. I'm kind of like, are y'all not wanting to apologize because you really don't want to admit that it was wrong? Um, so wow, she said, it honestly kind of broke my heart for him. I called him to see if he was okay because I'm like, I'm so sorry. That must Brian is in the background laughing, you guys. I'm
Well,
so
no, because
sorry.
Sally wants
That must
Austin's
have
dick so bad. Sally wants Austin's like dick so bad that and also it's like, is this your place to say private information on Page Six
she's
Radio?
telling
Like
us
maybe Austin, and also the third thing too is that like the Vialis, Nick Viali and his
mhm,
lady, like the contempt they have for their own audience is hysterical. You
they're
know, it's
disgusted
like
with
he's
y'all.
built like a jug. Like, but he built like congrats, you built a juggernaut of a program, but you seem to actively hate your audience. So you so much so that you will apologize to the guests, but you will not apologize to the audience. Like saying, "Hey, we all make mistakes. Totally get the anger. I get it completely. And you know what? These kind of experiences help us become better interviewers." The fact that you can't acknowledge that just shows such a contempt for your audience. And at the same time, people are masochists, so it'll probably get them more listeners. Who knows?
She said, I could tell he was uncomfortable because his leg was shaking. I've been friends with him for a while, and I haven't asked about Kyle. That's something that I feel like he should bring up when he feels comfortable. Um, so if you guys don't know about this, it's an interview that Austin did with Nick Vial and his wife, Natalie. And she really like jumped the gun. They were talking, and then she just goes, "So yeah, your dead sister. What happened with this cliff?" And I'm like, I say a lot
Yeah.
of like crazy shit, but I've never like framed anything like that before. It was almost kind of like out of like a movie. And obviously, he seemed a little bit uncomfortable, but they said that he was fine with it. Obvious, whatever the case may be, they then listen to it back, still release it because they had so much time to, prevent
Yeah.
this. Just
Wouldn't
like
you
Jill Zarin,
edit that out?
like, baby, you filmed this video, watched it, and was like, yeah, I'm gonna put that back. Like
Well,
they didn't edit
but
it out.
Kaya, is that rage bait as well? Did they do that on purpose because they wanted to rage bait? Like that was my question of like you have to know. Like I've said, you have to know that that is, and especially if you're in that same room with him and you see how uncomfortable he is, you have to acknowledge that as well. It's like you're doing this in person. You can feel a person's energy. I mean, we've interviewed enough people where you can feel that like right off the bat, and there is a certain like respect you give a guest where you usually get approval for certain lines of questioning, or you gain their trust within like hopefully 20 minutes of the interview, where you start putting little breadcrumbs out to see if somebody is open to talking about tragic events in their life. And so I mean, all of it's why. But this is like if Nick and Natalie interviewed Savannah Guthrie, they'd start off, they'd be like, who'd you think did it? Who killed your mom?
Yeah,
Like
that's
that like
literally
it's
how
like
it would
have some
sound.
tact.
And also the way that she framed it about this cliff, like, bitch, what? Are you kidding me? But
Do you still talk to the cliff, Austin?
it was crazy to watch, but I am not a Vile Files like watcher like that. But they're famously known for not apologizing when they offend their audience. They feel like, we apologize to him and that should be good enough, and we don't really care about what the audience feels, and we didn't offend the audience. It wasn't their sister. I think that's their point of view, but it's weird to see, especially when you're trying to work on other projects because they have a Netflix show coming out, and I'm like, that
Yeah, Age
it
of
couldn't
Attraction, yeah.
be, yeah, it couldn't be a worse time for you to do something like that. But I mean, I feel like they shouldn't apologize at this point because they're not sorry. So I think that that's a good thing because
No,
a
no,
lot of
they're
people
not
will
sorry at
just
all. In fact,
yeah.
they think their audience is stupid. Like, and you know, like, and by the way, because I don't think they've ever been affected by. I mean, I think they've only, you know, they've managed to really do well with their shows, and so congrats to them. It is just wild that I think anybody else would not be in this position to be able to keep doing this with like big name or in
Mhm.
this industry, the bigger guests of this industry, and like to be able to have no restrictions on their interviews. You know what a gift that is? Like, you know how much restrictions the rest of it, and like this is probably half of this is like professional jealousy on my part, but you're like, God, I have so many restrictions on everything I do. Imagine if I could just let it rip. Imagine how great and fun and cool that would be, and how
And of
much
all
better, you
things
know,
that you
I don't
can
know, not
talk about, you decide to ask that. I mean, like, yeah, I think it would be interesting to hear him outside of the show unedited talk about his sister if he wanted to, and you know the manner in which she passed away if he wanted to. But it's just there's a certain humanity that you should have when you are asking these things if it wasn't off the table at all, or even if it was something that you guys discussed, like, hey, I'm going to ask about that. It's just the way you also bring about these things. Imagine being able to ask anything in the world, you choose this tragic thing and then you frame it this way, you watch it back, listen to it back,
yeah, it's
release
the
it, see
framing.
how it sounds, and then decide that you're not only not going to apologize for it, but you're also going to make the audience feel like they're crazy for being offended about it. So at this point, they
Yeah,
don't need
10
to
toes down,
apologize.
10 toes
Yeah.
down.
I feel like I don't know,
Well,
there's
I mean,
one
you
side
do
of
it.
me that's like, you don't want to apologize, so don't do it. Stand 10 toes. Stand toes, like Lala Kent says. Or, you learn from this and maybe start being more human. It's just it's weird. It's a whole weird situation.
Well, don't you think also you don't do it at the beginning of the interview, and then you actually, I mean, you could tell they don't watch the show regularly. So like that is something that was like fairly obvious, is that they don't watch, because you would know the story
Yeah.
if you watch Southern Charm. You know, it has been spoken about before. And so it has been spoken about before, once that interview is going and you're bonding and you're getting information, you can always be like, something that I so greatly admire about you, Austin, is how at a young age that you did lose your sister, and you were so brave and open to share that with the audience. And I know, reading a lot of comments, that that really affected people. Did you have any trepidation about sharing something so personal on a reality show? Like, you frame it in such a way where
Mhm.
you tell the truth, but you give him safety to be able to speak about it any way he wants.
It's also, like it felt, like, very voyeuristic, like, the people who are vultures, right now, we have vultures with the Nancy Guthrie thing, it's like, "Tell me the details of how this happened." No one has ever, heard
Yeah.
these details, like, d what happened here and how it happened, and did you see it and all this stuff, and it was just it was shocking, but, they don't care, so I don't care.
But do you ever,
I
Kaya, do you ever think, because of the creator economy, and like we can include ourselves in this, is that
yeah,
we've now, like, there was a certain professionalism that we had, I think, in media, to do. And then I think now, like, kind of all bets are off. And the audience is now more accepting of piss poor performances. Of like, they don't really like, they're like, "Oh, okay." Like, half of the people I watch on TikTok have like a weird lisp or a weird like thing, like, and they're just kind of regurgitating the same articles. And I feel like that's almost not dumbed down the audience, but made standards for what, like, stuff that is out there and like is successful now, that wouldn't have flown 20 years ago. Like, that would have been completely like laughed at. And now everybody, I just feel like it's kind of chipped away at the overall quality and information.
but the thing is they didn't do this, like, on a TikTok video or anything. They sat in a professional
No,
environment,
no, no.
like,
I'm just
with
saying,
a
like, yeah.
I feel like it's
But
different
they're
too because
cosplaying as
they are,
they're
like
cosplaying as professionals.
right,
But they're cosplaying as professionals. They're cosplaying as journalists, and they are not journalists. They're
right.
cosplaying as these things, and because they have a fancy set, they're successful. You
Mhm.
take it as like, wow, this is a real news show almost, and it's not. I mean, and that's,
Right.
but at the same time, you can't argue with success. So anything that we say, it's like, well, we just got to eat shit because it works for them. But it doesn't seem to make them want to get better at it.
No, I mean, I think that I guess it depends on how long people will hold on to this because they figure it's just one news cycle and people will be back talking about whatever they want to talk about. We lose some people and then we gain some people. Like there are people who are going to stick with us, then there's people who are like this is the bottom line, final line, and that we don't owe them an apology. So I think that they're kind of like waiting on to see if this affects them in a positive or negative way in any kind of way. And because Austin has not publicly spoken on this, because he's probably like, no, it's cool. Yeah, I was cut off, guard, but kind of it's whatever. They are like, okay, if he's fine with it, then we don't need to really like even address it. So, me personally, I just wanted to say that I hated Nick Vile before it was cool. Never thought that he should be able to interview all these people who I felt like some of my dream guests, or not even dream guests. Like, I feel like there are people that you should be able to interview. I should be able to interview. People who really watch these shows, who know the history, who could handle it with some sensitivity. Whereas it's just these people as soon as freaking what was it? The whole thing with Tom Sandoval happened, they just were
Oh,
like,
I
"Oh,
know.
this is money." So now we are going to stick into Bravo land. We're going to go into Love Island land. We see that this is what's getting us views and we're going to get the people from there. And it's like, I
Well, yeah, and it's
actually
hard
watch
when
these
those people
shows.
remember Nick wasn't a Bravo guy.
Right.
Nick was like just starting to watch Vanderpump Rules if I remember correctly. And so you're like, that's wild. But that Tom
Yeah.
Sandoval interview was so interesting and explosive because that's another one where you would feel like, wow, Sandoval didn't ask them not to release that? Like, what a gift that he gave them because usually, it is so, you have to water these things down and anything interesting in them, you usually have to take out of the interview. And so to be able to do that was such a great gift. It was, and by the way, I always, like, I'm not going to completely shit on Nick, because I mean, we know how hard it is to build anything. And it's like, if you build something great, like, that's, you should be proud of that. Like, I understand how hard that is, but, you have a whole staff of people now. If somebody didn't clue you in to like his sister passing and like the details and the information around that, that's the part that I just question, like, did they do it on purpose or not? Because if you're just a human with a beating heart, you would actually just know not to do that. That's the part that I keep going over in my mind?
Yeah, it's definitely like shocked me when I saw it. I thought that it was like something that we would be getting an apology for, but then I read the comments of people who know this show and they say, we will never basically apologize for anything that we say or do on this podcast. And if you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. So, I mean, I'm not offended by it. I don't watch them. And I think that I
Yeah.
would Austin, if you want to come on, I would never ask you that. So yeah, there's that.
Nick should interview Jill Zarin for Jill Zarin's
Yeah.
apology tour. I think Nick
Hell
should.
yeah.
I bet
No,
that
I
will
think
happen
he should
actually, now that I think about it.
get Taylor, get Jill, and get Bethany on at the same time and just interview all three of them. And the
Oh
thing that
God.
sucks is that would literally break the internet, especially the Bravo world internet creator economy. Because unfortunately there are people who are obsessed with these women who just need to just they had their time. Get the fuck off the screen. That's pretty much it.